Well, first, Matthias, could you tell me what you do in WordPress?
Um, Professionally or my side projects?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I know you're the head of WordPress development at your company, and then I know you have side projects. So I guess professionally, what do you do professionally with WordPress at?
Yeah, currently I'm leading a WordPress development team, and we are responsible for the WordPress product in the hosting environment. So we try to make the WordPress installation as simple as possible for our customers, giving them some kind of a wizard and better onboarding processes and yeah, some guidance, stuff like that. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. This is a hosting company, is that right?
Yeah, it's in Europe, it's a big player. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I learned. I talked to one of your colleagues, and I can't remember his name too, but I was like, gosh, this is why I love getting over to Europe and different parts of the world. So many good WordPress things going on that I just don't know about in life. And so it's always exciting. How long have you been with?
I think it's nearly exactly 7 years now.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's quite some time.
Well, yes, yes. Well, let's talk about the subject that I'm very curious
Yeah,
about. I think it's the side projects you do.
yeah.
So I heard about Activity Pub and I was really intrigued and reached out and wanted to talk to you about this. So, what really is Activity Pub?
Um, I think the easiest way to explain it is the protocol behind Mastodon. I think Mastodon is currently in every news, at least now that Elon Musk has taken over Twitter. Everyone tries to move his account to Mastodon, and ActivityPub is kind of the technical protocol that enables Mastodon to communicate decentralized. And it's not only Mastodon; it's a whole bunch of different special case platforms. There's PixelFed that is specialized for images, so kind of the decentralized version of Instagram. And there are video platforms, there are other microblogging platforms, and there are also some blogging platforms that are completely ActivityPub compatible. So yeah, it's kind of the base of, it's also called the Fediverse, federated universe. That's kind of the summarized topic. Yeah.
And part of this is, Matthias, I don't know how much you know about me, but I'm technical enough. But some of this I'm asking because I really don't even know.
Okay.
But why this was interesting, well, is when you said decentralized, that's always interesting to me. But the fact that, well, I want to ask you, why is this interesting to you to do Activity Pub?
Um, yeah, kind of. It's kind of a bit. It's nostalgic. It's really nostalgic. I started blogging with the predecessor of WordPress, B2, and since then I've completely fell in love with the blogging and the whole. When I started blogging, there was no Facebook and there was no big social network, and I loved the decentralized blogging, referencing each other and owning your own content. And then when the big players came and everyone closed their small blogging platform to move to Facebook or later to Instagram, I searched for a lot of alternative or for possibilities to keep blogging important and relevant, and started a lot of projects, all with the focus of being decentralized, kind of having your own part of a bigger social network to keep this status quo alive. So yeah, that's kind of the background for that. So I tried a lot of different protocols, a lot of different ideas, and I think with the Twitter problem and the rise of Mastodon, it's kind of the first time I think that the decentralized version of a social platform really has a chance. So I was really I thought, yeah, and the activity pub protocol is also some kind of a, let's say, the most official version of a decentralized protocol ever, because it's released through the W3C, the World Wide Web Foundation. No, the Word.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, and this combination between it's kind of a official or nearly official de facto standard, and the possibility with Mastodon makes a really interesting, yeah, environment. And I thought, okay, maybe give it a last try to implement something in WordPress to yeah, keep blogging alive.
What does ActivityPub actually do though in WordPress? And I'm asking because I don't know. I know the buzzword's decentralized, and I'm like, okay, tell me what it really does for WordPress, for a WordPress blogger or WordPress site.
I don't wanted to implement a full-fledged social network. So I started, the main idea was, okay, how can I build something that WordPress would be a part of the Fediverse, but having no, keeping the complexity low. So I started with, okay, let's try a version where someone on the Fediverse on Mastodon can follow a blog or a user on a blog and kind of subscribe to the blog posts, and every activity on Mastodon will be federated to the WordPress blog. So it's kind of a simple two-way communication, but it's not that I can use my WordPress blog as a social network. I can't follow someone on Mastodon on my WordPress. I think there are better ways or better platforms to do that, but I thought at least this one would be really awesome. So it's kind of, I can still write my posts where I always have written it, and I can spread them, and others can follow my blogs, and I don't have to do the whole cross-posting stuff, which is only one way. If I cross-post my blog post to Twitter or Mastodon or other platforms, it's only, yeah, my article lands on that platform, but every communication, every social interaction on that platform will stay there. And I have to check all of the platforms to see if there's something. And with ActivityPub for WordPress, it enables kind of this two-way communication. The next step would be if I would write an answer to one of the comments on the blog, that this will be also back posted to Mastodon.
Gotcha. So I love the thought of, I go back to blogging too, and you're earlier than me, but I was 2006 using WordPress. I loved it. You could publish something without having to know code, put it out on the internet. People could come. RSS was a big deal, and whoever talked to you mentioned like RSS. Everybody had a feed reader back in the day. That slowly kind of died, and then I was like, well, the only way to stay connected is email. But I love this. Of course, WordPress and Post.ss2 is we want to support the open web, and decentralized. I'm always going to be a champion of, because we've seen you've evidenced the recent one, which is this debacle with a billionaire buying a social network and running it into the ground potentially. But the other day I was thinking, I've got a Twitter following over here, but it kind of starts to feel a little silent over there. And then you go, what's going to happen to it? It's out of my control, which is why I was like, I've got to talk to Matthias to talk about ActivityPub. What do you think? I want to ask it like this, but what do you think the potential of this? I see some thoughts, but I want to really hear it from you. Is what's the potential for ActivityPub and this, the Fediverse? WordPress becomes a player again. It seems like a big player with content creation, which is where I fell in love with WordPress, because you could put content up, create it, and not have to manage a bunch of HTML pages or a database or anything. It's all there. So like I was like, we've got to have this conversation in WordPress, because you're going to see these closed walled gardens like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it is, that are owned and operated by people out of our control. And I think we all fly the flag of, we love the freedom of WordPress. So what do you see the potential for this? Not trying to say you need to predict the future, but you see a better future there, that's linked to the Fediverse and particularly ActivityPub. What's your hope for it?
Yeah, I think, or to kind of, you mentioned email. I think with ActivityPub is really, or the whole Fediverse idea is really similar to email. So email is decentralized. So you can choose between hosting your own email server with your own domain. So you're in control of everything, but you have to know a lot about how email works. And you can go to one of the big players, or to one of to a hoster you trust. So you can choose between all of these possibilities. And Mastodon is kind of the same. So you can choose one of the big Mastodon platforms if you trust them, or you can host your own little platform. And I was really interested in the own platform thing, because if you join a big Mastodon instance, it's not exactly the same as with Twitter, but it's kind of the same. So nevertheless, you have to trust the platform owner, or the company that runs the platform. And that could also change something. I just recently read that Elon Musk is also, or has also bought one of the biggest Mastodon platforms. So for the users on that platform, it's kind of the same issue. Okay, it's easier to move platforms because it's decentralized. So if you say, okay, I don't trust the owner anymore, I can switch platforms and keep my friends. So it's easier, but they're the same risks as on the big walled gardens. And if you find a way to make it as easy as installing a WordPress blog, there is nearly no risk. Okay, your hoster can shut off your website, but then you are in control of the domain. You're in control of your WordPress blog. You can move that around to everywhere you want. So it's the easiest, simplest way to control your data and to be independent, and nevertheless to be part of that big new social network. And that's kind of amazing in my eyes. So that's why I started the work on ActivityPub. And I started it 4 years ago, and I had, let's say, kind of 100 downloads. And in the last, let's say, 4 weeks, it's amazing. I think it's 2,000 and rising steadily. And a lot of it's still a bit complicated for installing on shared hosting. So I have a lot to do answering support questions and release some small bug fixes. But yeah.
Okay. So how would, in a perfect world, we're meeting a year, 2 years from now. What do you hope happens with everything? And I want to leave it blank like that just to see with Fediverse and WordPress's place in it.
I think the Fediverse itself will grow and will improve. I think mostly in the part of having portable profiles to make it even easier to move platforms. And I think for WordPress, my hope is that I can manage to implement a full-fledged server. So I hope I will find some time to also implement the following part, so that in the end you maybe have a full-flavored Mastodon-like installation with your WordPress. Yeah, that would be awesome in the end. Yeah.
So, and this is for my own understanding. So, for that to happen, you have to go get a Mastodon instance. Is that right? No.
No, my hope, and that's why I mentioned the combination. My hope is that the ActivityPub will improve that way that you can move profiles very easily to keep your friend network and to move from one instance to another instance, or from one platform to a completely different platform. Yeah, without losing anything and without having too much handwork. Is that a word in English? Too many configuration stuff and yeah, redefining things. Because that would allow you to simply switch between your current Mastodon instance to your own WordPress blog, for example. And then the next part would be a way to import your complete social network, and to have to support following others, and find a way to kind of display the activity stream you currently have in Mastodon.
Portable social network. So kind of portable social network.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so there's this growing trend, and I go, because we've been blogging for, you and I have been bloggers for a long time. I go, well, this is a new name for blogging, but the creator economy. And you see these Instagram people building up huge followings with the problems and the threats that I see, we see, and that they're going to change a policy. They go from Instagram goes from photo to video, and then all of a sudden they lose a lot of traffic and all that stuff. Then they have this other problem, which is, how do you monetize it? You're under the same rules. Okay, so if I'm a creator, it seems like WordPress is a great hub to build all the things we just talked about. It's yours. You have the same rights and freedoms. I need Mastodon instance, but like, how would you suggest a creator start using WordPress in the Fediverse to do these outcomes we've been talking about?
The way I started building the plugin does not force you to change anything. So the idea is to keep working with WordPress you did before. So it's still, you publish your images, you publish your videos. The only difference is others can follow you not only via RSS or Atom, but on a real social network. And on Mastodon, there are possibilities to change the look and feel of how your blog posts will be displayed on the social networks, because Mastodon in the end is a microblogging service. So it might be useful to strip your blog posts, or to use only the excerpt. And PixelFed is focusing on images. So for that platform, it makes sense to highlight the image, but how you interact or how you use WordPress does not change anything. It's simply keep what you're doing, keep blogging, and the rest will be done by the plugin.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get clear on my question. Oh. So, okay. No. You helped me a ton. No, that and broadening my understanding of it, because what I see is going, here's a choice, just like we had in the old days. Here's a choice, proprietary software, closed software. And then here's a choice called WordPress and open source. So I think the question I'm probably trying to get to is, I think the thesis here is we need to get a lot of people embracing the Fediverse and understanding it.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
What do you think needs to happen for this to become the new way? We don't go to Twitter, Facebook, closed system. We go to use a tool like WordPress or whatever other tool, connect it to the Fediverse, and you're doing the same thing as those creators back on Instagram. Because is that not the vision here?
Yeah, that's the vision. The problem is it's very, very hard to convince someone to do that. So I think the current situation with Twitter was one of the best thing that could happen for the whole Fediverse Mastodon stuff, because I think it's still way easier to be on Facebook and to publish things on Facebook, because all of your friends are there. And the whole following part on the Fediverse is still a bit nerdy, because you have to understand the identifier thing, username at domain, and you have to know which user is on which platform. So you have to know the complete handle, and there's currently no easy way kind of search through this directory and find all of your friends. They tried to do that using Twitter. So if you put the Mastodon handle in your Twitter bio, there were tools that grabbed this information and added all of these friends you had on Twitter on Mastodon or something like that. But in the end, there's again a centralized platform you are using to find your friends. So I think this is really the key changer. If you find a way, kind of like the email address, if it's common sense to use such identifiers, then it would be the Fediverse would be no problem. So maybe it's a good idea to combine that with email addresses to find or to convince the big email providers or hosting providers to also run Mastodon instances, at least for the short term, so that you kind of understand how the identifier works, or you kind of improve the whole identifier stuff. I think that's the key part in the whole discussion.
Yeah,
And that's
it's like
it's easier, or TikTok or Instagram. It's easier to say I'm Matthias at Instagram. It's way easier than I would say I'm Matthias at notiz.blog. So yeah. And there's currently no search engine that searches through all the different federated platforms. So you can't guess. On Instagram, you can try to search for the whole name and you get suggestions. But if you search in the Fediverse and you are on the wrong platform, you don't find the person in general you are searching for.
So kind of because it's so decentralized, it's not, there's that big lack, which is why I usually use myself as a bar of technical, if I have to go figure out, okay, an instance, what is this and that. But if we smooth that out, the WordPress in this whole equation is I think it's potential for return to use this amazing tool that's already the largest, one of the largest software pieces of software on the planet, particularly on the web. But so I go, wow, this is an opportunity for WordPress to come back to be the hub or a hub or a tool for the bigger hub. Is that, but I saw the same things you're talking about. It's not common sense, like you said, to go and do it for most people.
Yeah, but maybe WordPress can solve the issue, at least in the WordPress ecosystem, to maybe have a directory of different users with their domains or their identifiers, using WordPress.org as a kind of centralized contact book where you can search for people. So maybe WordPress solved this problem in his kind of little ecosystem. Yeah,
it sure could. It could be a great start. Like I remember going, if you're signed into WordPress.com, going to a site and seeing the bar at the top, seems similar to that. Like, is there a way to federate all this together? If you have a WordPress site, you can click the button or whatever else, and then you become discoverable on a bigger network.
And I think WordPress.com could also really be a game changer, because it's one platform, so it's really easy to maybe strip the whole WordPress.com stuff and only use the subdomain part to search for other people on the platform to make the first step. So with WordPress.com, you kind of can build a Mastodon-like platform completely with WordPress and ActivityPub, and I think it would be one of the biggest platforms with one. So
overnight.
And I think it's also really, it should be a really interesting technology for hosters and for platform providers, because it's kind of the only way to make to have an alternative to Facebook and Twitter, and to bring people back to using their own platforms and switching to coming back to hosting their own platform. So yeah, maybe it's a joint venture between hosting providers, WordPress providers, platform providers like WordPress.com to build kind of an alternative to the walled gardens. Yeah.
Yes, I see that so much. I mean, if we could, I know I'm simplifying this, but turn on a setting within Core to be in the network, we overnight could have the largest platform.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if the end result is, for me, the question I always ask for our community is, how do we continue to make a healthy, vibrant WordPress business ecosystem? So hosting companies, product companies, agency, client work companies. And then I go, okay, I remember the early days when WordPress was the tool. I mean, it was the best tool out there that you could do anything on the internet. Then slowly you started seeing Squarespace, Wix, Weebly come in and start to take out this do-it-yourself market. And the question I've been asking because of my previous company and my past with WordPress is, how does WordPress stay relevant? Well, when it's easy to go to, you can use a tool like Canva, then you can go to Facebook. They've got built-in audience, And so I keep asking the question is, how do we stay relevant in the future as the best open source software on the planet? I believe. I'm very impartial, but I love it. It's why we all gravitate toward this. We're going to make an end circle around to make sure we stay relevant. It's like, it's the closed garden model of things where they're going to migrate off to these other platforms, we need to stay relevant as the best tool, but we can add one. We can say content creation and then also network connection, to each other. And that is pretty powerful for the future of WordPress.
Exactly. And it has a nice, what's Nebeneffekt in the special words? Side effect. It's a nice side effect that you also own your content. That's the big problem. If you will be blocked or banned from Twitter, like many journalists were, you lose everything you posted on Twitter. And if you see people there on Facebook since ages, and from one day to the other, you have lost everything, and that's yeah. And you go back to, I have everything on my server, and if some of the platforms I'm connected with are going down, it doesn't matter. I'm still on my WordPress instance. I have still all my images, my texts. I do not care anymore. So it's really, I can be part of a social network, and I can still be the owner of everything I ever created.
It's really a rally call for the open web, because where you're trading the beauty of WordPress, you got freedom on this side and you got control on this side. It may be a subset of, and it's, to me, I've slowly seen over 15 years or whatever I've been in WordPress going this increasingly, because they could iterate on software, come out with fresh and new ideas, not have some. WordPress is always backwards compatible and does such a good job at all that stuff. And so, but then you get these startups who can, fresh ideas, fresh mind, use WordPress as an inspiration, I think, and then come out new stuff. And this is, if we want to shift power and control from closed gardens, we got to embrace Fediverse, build tools for it with WordPress being at the lead of the WordPress should be the leader of the Fediverse in my mind.
Yeah, true. Because it's, at the moment, it's nearly impossible to host your own Mastodon instance. So to have the complete freedom, it must be something as easy as WordPress.
So would WordPress need to create its own instance, Mastodon instance?
No, I think Mastodon is also open source. So in the end, the idea is you could also host your own Mastodon instance and be the provider of your own Mastodon instance where only you are active. But it's such a complicated platform that it's nearly impossible to run that on your own. And if you really want to be the owner of your own instance in the Fediverse, it has to be as easy as installing a WordPress. So I think to have a simple and easy to use node in the whole Fediverse, I think it can be only WordPress. Yeah.
So it seems like part two of that, embrace Fediverse part two, is we need to make it more easy to create instances. Might be another piece.
No, what I wanted to say is it is easy, and it is the easiest way to do that. And everything I've seen so far, every other piece of software in the Fediverse is really complicated to host. It's not as easy as having a PHP and MySQL. It's way more complicated. You have to run different microservices and special persistence toolings. And with WordPress, as you said, it's backwards compatible. It's compatible with nearly every shared hosting environment. There is no easier way. So it's kind of the perfect way to make such a thing.
Yeah. So, which is, see, again, I can't, now I go like, holy cow, this is a moment for WordPress. So give me an example here for a second. Let's take post status. Okay. I want to have my community on our community on the Fediverse. Well, I'll say Fediverse and you direct me. What would the steps be to do something like that?
Installing the activity plugin.
and then so
then okay, yeah. The activity plugin will it's a very early stage. So the most requested feature is that you can follow the complete WordPress instance, the complete WordPress. So every post independent from the author should be shared. At the moment, it's not like that. It's every author at the WordPress blog will get an identifier. It's author login name at domain, and then you can follow the author on a Mastodon instance, for example, and then you see every blog post that was written by this author on Mastodon. That's how it currently works.
So I'm post status and I go to poststatus.com, activate activity pub.
Then you will be Cory at poststatus.com.
Okay.
That's it.
And for our community to be on post status on the Fediverse, same thing. So then if they're on the Fediverse, I'm trying to understand, or they're on Mastodons, or they join an instance, how does the instance work in that case? Like what's the next step for other people to connect in? Like we said, hey, post status, come on over. Does that make sense? How will we do that?
I'm not sure I understand you completely.
Yeah. Like I go, and this is why I'm probably not understanding the Fediverse concept and how it all links in. And I'm trying to use post status as an example to help me understand it.
Yeah.
So I just activate, literally, I say, I want post status to be on the Fediverse. I just activate ActivityPub. And then what do? I'm sorry. This
No
is very
problem.
basic.
Yeah. Then everyone on every platform, or let's say on Mastodon, can follow your user on post status. And everything you do on post status will be shared with this user in the Fediverse or on Mastodon.
That's where it's blown my mind a bit. Is it's not me creating an instance?
No.
Or is it? It's me just saying I'm here.
Yeah. And that's the difference to the more common or mostly other Mastodon plugins around there, that every other plugin will only share the content using a Mastodon account. So with the other plugins, you have to create a Mastodon account, you have to install the plugin, then you have to say in the plugin which is your Mastodon account, and then the WordPress will publish the content using this Mastodon user. But with the ActivityPub plugin, the user on this blog is kind of the same as a Mastodon user. So you can directly follow the WordPress user on this blog, and everything you do in this blog can be followed and commented and boosted by every Mastodon user.
So is it like Gravatar? Is it like Gravatar in the sense that is Gravatar like this system in some way, where you put an email address in, and then when I log in somewhere else, does that make sense? I can log in and it shows my Gravatar. Is it like that?
Not really. It's maybe.
And I'm sorry, I'm having to admit, I don't understand that fundamental level, and it'll click for me, but there's a gap there. Okay, this is why I told you ahead of time I'm not too technical.
Can I?
Yeah, you can share screen.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this, because
no problem.
There's something in my brain that's just a gap.
So, smaller. So, you see my screen?
Yes.
So, this is my blog, and that is my author page, and there you can see my followers. To follow my blog on the Fediverse, I go to Mastodon, and then I'm searching for my username, my blog's username. It's my login at my domain. I can also follow the URL completely, so I search for that, and then Mastodon is finding my profile, and I can follow the profile. And if I click on that, I see my description. It's the description from the blog. It's my my profile picture. It's the background picture I'm using, and you see all of my blog posts directly on Mastodon. That's the okay. And if you nice post, then I should get a comment there. There's a little bug. It mostly lands in trash, but
I gotcha.
I have to fix that. So yeah. And then you get that, and That's how it works.
No, I see. Yeah. Is that a
No.
custom post? Is that a custom post type in WordPress?
No.
No.
So that's what I tried to say. It's exactly it's WordPress. It's simply WordPress. It's no custom post type. The comments or the replies you do on Mastodon will be comments, and yeah, it's nothing more than WordPress. And the ActivityPub plugin is only providing the communication protocol.
The plumbing.
ActivityPub is kind of it's very similar to email. So I can show you a bit of the API. So ActivityPub. It's simply yeah, it's generating kind of an outbox for blog posts I'm doing on my blog. So posts that should be sent to the Fediverse. And it's also creating an inbox. It's where everything, where the WordPress receives every activity on any other social network. So if someone on Mastodon follows my blog, it will generate an activity that's sent to my inbox, and then I try to understand that activity and add the user to my followers list. And if I write a new blog post, the ActivityPub plugin searches for all the subscribers and sends it, let's say, through the outbox to the inbox from the other persons. And then Mastodon is doing the same thing. It catches the activity, tries to understand for which people the activity is, and then puts it in the kind of in the inbox of these people. So it's really I tried to use as much as possible from vanilla WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
So no. So in the best case, you deinstall the plugin without having any issues, or without having to change something, or to move blog posts, or to you don't get rid of the comments you got so far from the Fediverse. It's yeah.
It seems like it's just a new workflow.
Yeah.
Potential here, a new workflow potential when you're going to create on the web, come through WordPress. But you have to switch my old mindset, which is when you're showing me inbox here, I go, I get it because you explained it as email. So it's like I would, just like I would check email every day, I would log into WordPress and
see
do the
your
same
new
there.
comments, or see your new followers, or yeah. So it's I can also show you that you will have a followers list, so you can see every follower that follows your blog's user. It's not that beautiful at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I'm really getting it. It's I just see this right here as a real, the biggest opportunity we have as a WordPress community to continue to prosper the open web is this. And then I start to shift to what's the workflow that you would use? Like I do this, it's how I do online stuff. But like when you come onto the web, I have Twitter, I have LinkedIn, I have my key things that WordPress somewhere is in there. That's how I create and build on the web. You know, that's my radar station, I guess. And so I'm thinking it's like, what a magical opportunity. That start block for me would be start here, which is where I've started for 15 plus years with WordPress.
Yeah.
So like, but that's a paradigm shift that I think we can make as a community. Don't you? I guess I'm just seeing this opportunity going, this is WordPress's opportunity to truly lead in the open web. This is our moment, and you're right at the middle of it. You're right at the intersection. You're the point saying, hey, I connected it. Hey, it's here. But Matthias, I mean, this is way big, but let's now I'm getting it. Now I'm seeing that relevant portion of it because you're showing me. But I think it requires on the outward facing part of this is to other creators is this is the workflow you want and need. Then we'll have to figure out the consumer side of all that, I guess, right? From the paradigm shift that need to happen to that. It's like, my parents might say, the joke is your parents probably think Facebook is the internet. So it's like making that shift too.
Yeah.
But these are good shifts to make for the future of the internet.
Yeah, and that is what I meant earlier. I think it's important to explain people how this new stuff is working in general, how
Yes.
The new identifiers are working, how the decentralized idea of following is working. And I think the current shift from Twitter to Mastodon is really the first step, and maybe a game changer to at least understand how it's working in general, and then maybe understand the potential of WordPress even better.
Well, forgive me, Matthias. I get excited about things like this because I now understand the fundamental shift. But I just go, this is it. This is the reigniting of something really, really freaking cool, to be honest with you. But we just have to, this is what I was going to tell you. Just like the COVID accelerated remote work or some advances that probably needed to happen in education, this Twitter thing could be an impetus. And look at, you were there, you remember the movable type to WordPress shift?
Yeah.
Huge. And it seems like right here, and you're right there at the cross section of this. So it's like we could use this Twitter thing in a big way, as a cause for the open web to say, look at this. This is why this is the beauty of WordPress, this is the flag we fly. That's why you don't depend on closed garden things. Come over here. And so that could be a shift. And then I think there's another push, it seems like, Matthias, which is like, how do we just get this into core? What you're doing. Is that what you're thinking? What's your thoughts on where this whole activity pub could take itself? If you don't mind sharing.
I've not thought about making it directly core, because it's really in a very early state. It's functional, it's working, it's doing what I showed you, but it's still kind of a spare time project. So my next steps would be kind of, how can I put more work into the plugin? How are my options to get that more into my personal focus? And then I think I love the idea of Matt's new the idea of having a subcategory for plugins. I think he mentioned it on the State of the Word.
State of the Word,
there are two new types of plugins, commercial plugins and community plugins, and he often said that he also has the idea of canonical plugins. And I think to have this kind of functionality, at least as kind of it's that important that kind of the community recommends the plugin, or it's kind of that big that maybe others will join, helping developing the plugin, would be a huge first step. So I think, yeah, having a solid base plugin, and then kind of improve through these kind of possibilities.
I see. Well, I see there's huge potential in this whole area. I'm glad there's someone like you that has taken up the banner to do this, you know? So how can I help? How can Post Status help? I mean,
So,
very honestly, I go, this is it feels very much in the line with my career, and going, this is a magical opportunity, it seems like. So what can we do for you? What can I do for you? Post Status, other members?
Spreading the word.
Okay.
I think it's really the biggest problem is understanding the potential, and understanding what it really does. It is mostly kind of, yeah, okay, it's another plugin where I can share my blog posts on different social networks, and besides of Twitter and Facebook, there's a new plugin I can share with Mastodon, and to help them understand that it's not kind of this plugin, and it's not simply a share it with platform X, but a plugin that enables you to be part of a social network, a decentralized social network. I think this would be awesome. Simply
Yeah.
spreading the word. And
Okay.
besides of that, I'm trying to improve my time, or increase my time working on that.
Yeah,
So
no kidding. No kidding. Well, okay, I'm gonna take it for a spin after we're off and everything, because I want to do it myself, because I don't know. I love the concept of the open web, and so I thank you for being up so late in your time. I know you got family stuff, but thanks for taking some time with me today, to talk about all this, and thank you for actually walking it through me. I'm kind of feel like an old dog sometimes, needs to learn new tricks, and this is one of those, because I was like, but you cleared that up for me. So thanks. Hit me up though. Any new stuff, I want to feature it at Post Status. Anything you're doing, just, you have my DM and my email or whatever. Just tell me what cool stuff you're doing so we can keep up. Because right now in tech, on the tech side, we're not. I like, as you can tell, I don't keep up with this. I keep up with business and world stuff, and I'm like, but I'm seeing a connection here that's pretty big. So anyway, please push this to me, and I want to continue to support it.
Okay.
All right, Matthias, thank you, my friend.
Yeah,
Let's
thank
keep
you
in touch.
for your time.
You too. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.